Today, we're going to explore a rather profound text, the new Source Heart Sutra. It gives us a really unique way of looking at our own potential, our purpose, and a path it calls spiritual cultivation. So let's just delve right into its core ideas exactly as they're presented. Right from the very beginning, we're given this foundational idea. It suggests that real growth isn't something that just happens to us. It's a conscious choice. It's a commitment that comes from being willing to look for and really embrace a new way of understanding. You know, this single idea is the key that unlocks everything else we're about to discuss. So where do we even start with an understanding like that? Well, the text tells us to first turn our attention to what it calls the Creator's design, and to really think about our own special, unique place within that larger picture. At the very heart of this design is one singular gift, the human thinking function. Now, this is presented as the absolute cornerstone of our existence. It's the unique quality that sets humanity apart, the thing that lets us develop knowledge, build civilizations, and create all the material progress we see around us. And because of this unique function, the text makes a pretty profound claim. It says that humanity is, by its very nature, the highest and noblest form of life. Now, this isn't meant to be a statement of arrogance. It's presented as a statement of inherent purpose, of an immense, built-in potential. But, having potential is one thing, actually mastering it is something else entirely. The text suggests that for most of our history, humanity has been in a state of infancy, using a set of incredibly powerful innate functions almost instinctively, without full consciousness or wisdom. Let's take a look at these tools. Okay, so first up is the logical function. This is just our natural ability to see patterns in the world, to understand them, and then to act on them. The text points to the very beginnings of civilization, learning how to grow crops or breed animals, as the direct result of this spontaneous, inborn logic. So, after logic helps us figure out the what of the world, something deeper starts to bubble up, the faith function. This is described as the drive that often appears in childhood with that huge question, where do I come from? This natural search for a source, for a creator, leads to that bigger picture thinking and has really been the foundation for countless faith groups throughout all of human history. And once faith gives us some kind of a framework for meaning, that's when our mission function kicks in. This is our innate ability to commit, to take real responsibility for an idea or a community, and to dedicate ourselves to it. Whether it's for a family, a nation, or a set of beliefs, this function is what allows for these incredible acts of devotion, sometimes even self-sacrifice. And kind of woven through all of these is the imagination function. This is the source of all invention, really. It's the power that lets us create art and novels, formulate scientific theories, and even construct these complex ideas about the Creator and the universe. It literally builds new worlds, both in our minds and in reality. Okay, and this is where things take a serious turn. The text argues that having these four immense powers without consciously mastering them, well, it's dangerous. This is the central problem it presents. Humanity is wielding godlike tools with the maturity of a child. This slide just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? It shows the two-edged nature of that power. On one side, our logical function gives us wonderful things like agriculture. But when it's used blindly, that very same function can be twisted to manipulate other people, to create followers just to harvest their worship and their dignity. It's the same tool, you see. The only difference is the awareness behind it. And the conclusion drawn from all this is, well, it's pretty stark. The warning is urgent. Humanity, because it's still in this infantile state of just acting spontaneously, is genuinely at risk of its own self-destruction. Our power has simply outgrown our wisdom to manage it. So that brings us to the most important point. If our infancy is the source of the danger, then the only solution is to mature. So the text poses the big question, the pivotal question. How do we do that? How do we consciously choose to step out of this infancy? The answer it gives is really interesting. It's not about gaining some new secret powers. It's about waking up to the ones we've had all along. The text calls this primary spiritual cultivation, and it's a path that's available not just to a chosen few, but to anyone who is willing to walk it. The path itself is laid out in four very clear steps. First, you seek the Creator and the larger cosmic plan, but, and this is critical, without making things up or fantasizing. Second, you consciously activate and start to refine your own thinking function. Third, and this is maybe the most important step, you review the products of your own thinking, your beliefs, your assumptions, your conclusions. Because it's from that honest review, the text suggests, that you gain real insight and begin to grow beyond that infantile state. So why do all this? What's the point of this journey? Where does this path of conscious cultivation actually lead? Well, in a funny way, it leads us right back to the beginning, to fulfilling the Creator's original design for us. The ultimate goal is to align yourself with that design. It means consciously choosing to support and uphold what is noble, what is advanced within yourself and in the world around you, instead of just acting on those unexamined, spontaneous impulses. And on a very personal level, the payoff here is just immense. This path is how you maintain true self-respect, how you recognize your own inherent self-worth, and how you practice a genuine self-love that isn't based on ego, but on fulfilling your deepest, truest potential. And finally, the text leaves us with one last, very potent warning. This path of cultivation is a path to becoming your own sovereign person. It's like an immunization against that blind manipulation we talked about earlier. The whole point is to strengthen yourself, not to give yourself away. And so we're left with a challenge, aren't we? The entire philosophy boils down to this one conscious act, to turn inward and really review the products of our own minds. The text doesn't give us the answers. It only gives us the method. The final, resonant question is for each and every one of us to answer for ourselves.